Hey guys, I'm the Stradman. Today we're doing a review of a very cool car. We have a 2008 Volkswagen Golf R32. Now you're probably familiar with the Golf and may even be familiar with the Golf GTI. The GTI of course is a performance variant of the standard Golf. Well, the R32 is one step above the GTI. They only built 5,000 of these for the US market, so they're a pretty rare car. My friend was gracious enough to let me do a review of his awesome R32. He is looking to sell the car right now, so there is going to be a link to the classified advertisement in the description below. Now, one of the really cool features of the R32 is it is all-wheel drive. It's the only Golf variant that does feature all-wheel drive. The standard Golf and the GTI both are front-wheel drive. Now, the R32 has a 3.2 liter naturally aspirated VR6 that produces 250 horsepower and 236 pound-feet of torque. The Golf R32 weighs just a bit over 3,500 pounds, roughly 300 pounds more than the GTI, mainly due to that all-wheel drive system. The R32 features Volkswagen's 4Motion intelligent all-wheel drive system from Haldex, has electronic torque mapping that adjusts for a variety of road conditions for temperature, speed, as well as traction. R32 is a 2+2, which means it has 2 doors, but it does have a second row of seats. You can fit 4 adults fairly comfortable. Another distinction on the R32 is the center-mounted exhaust. R32 has 18-inch alloy wheels. The brake calipers are painted blue. Another distinction of the R32. The rotors are 13.6 inches, where on the GTI they're 12.3 inches. Gives the car some pretty good stopping power. The base MSRP on the R32 is just a little over $33,000. Only option is navigation, which is an $1,800 option. This puts the R32 in the competitive price range of the Subaru Impreza WRX STI and the Mitsubishi Lancer Evolution. Now, performance-wise, those two cars are much quicker, but the R32 has a level of refinement that those two can't compete with. It's especially noticeable in the interior. The R32 features really nice leather seats, really nice sport steering wheel. Like I was saying, they only built 5,000 R32s for the US market, and each is individually numbered. This one is number 4845, so this was one of the last R32s built. The R32 only is available in automatic transmission. Have a DSG Sport automatic transmission. Have the paddle shifters on the steering wheel, shift up here on the right hand side, and then shift down here on the left hand side. One of the biggest complaints is that the R32 was not available in a manual transmission. R32 is a 2+2. Has the 2 back seats. Not super spacious, but a decent sized adult can fit rather comfortably for a short trip. 10-speaker audio system in the R32. Have the hands-free controls on the steering wheel, speedometer on the right hand side, fuel gauge, engine temperature, and tachometer. R32 red lines at 6,500 RPMs. For hot hatch, the Golf R32 does have a pretty good amount of storage. Open up the back to take a look. It's pretty good. And then these seats do fold nearly flat. Gives you a pretty good idea. You can fit quite a bit of stuff in the back of this car. The base R32 costs $9,000 more than the base GTI. So if you're looking to buy one of the two cars, you'll want to decide what's most important for you. The R32, of course, features the all-wheel drive system, so it is going to drive much better in bad weather road conditions. Another key difference, though, is between how the two cars drive. The Golf GTI has a 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder, so it is going to have a bit of turbo lag in the low RPMs, with the boost coming on right around 3,000 RPMs. Whereas the R32 has a naturally aspirated VR6, so it is going to have more consistent linear power throughout the RPM range, with maximum torque reached right around 6,000 RPMs. You're also paying for a bit of exclusivity with the R32. They only built 5,000 of them, so to some buyers this is a really cool feature, and to some people they may not care too much. Performance-wise, the R32 is going to outperform the GTI, although it's not too much. 0 to 60 time on the R32 is 5.8 seconds, which is roughly a half second faster than the GTI. R32 also has the bigger brake rotors, so it is going to stop quicker, and it has the all-wheel drive system, so it's going to handle much better around corners. Fuel economy on the two cars: R32 gets 18 in the city and 23 on the highway, whereas the GTI is going to get about 5 miles per gallon better in both of those categories. Cool thing about the R32 and the GTI, when they first came out there was the $9,000 difference, but that gap has closed. So you can get an R32 for just a few thousand more than the GTI. The R32 is a much better driver's car. It handles much better. It's going to drive much better. It's quicker, it's cooler because they only built 5,000 of them, and it looks a little bit better. There's some really cool features like the center mounted exhaust. The car sounds a lot better than the GTI as well. If you're familiar with turbocharged cars, they don't sound that fantastic, whereas this naturally aspirated VR6 sounds really good. It doesn't have the same sound that a lot of hot hatches have. It definitely has a good throaty sound that's very similar to some of the Audi and BMWs. Is powered by a 1.8 liter turbocharged 4-cylinder. The M Roadster has these aggressive front and rear fenders